Boaz has some relatives, and if you don't watch it, you won't get the one God has for you. You'll get his relatives. To the girls, I found this on the internet. Boaz is spelled B-O-A-Z. Everybody say B-O-A-Z. And so he's got some relatives called broke, po, lying, cheat, dumb, drunk. Don't go out with him. Cheat. Turn to somebody and say, I dated him. Locked up, good for nothing, lazy, and especially his third cousin beating your. Wait on your Boaz and make sure he respects your. Now there's your word. You wanted a word, you got a word.
Sorry. If you thought that was the most ridiculous and inappropriate thing that you've ever heard from prosperity preacher Jensen Franklin, I'm afraid you ain't seen nothing yet. This might be the single most ridiculous application of Scripture I've ever seen, and that is saying a lot.
But the message was called Blood Anointed Ears, Hands, and Feet. And it came from Leviticus chapter 8. And it's the story of when Aaron and his sons were called by Moses to come and be the first high priest, a high priest who would stand before God on behalf of the people, but would also be an example to the people of great public service and ministry. And Aaron is being ordained. And they had a strange ritual. The Bible said they took the blood of an innocent animal, a goat, and they put blood on the right ear of the high priest. They put blood on the thumb, the right thumb of the high priest. And they took his shoes off and put blood on the right big toe of the right foot. Consecrated hearing is a demand of the Spirit for someone who was being ordained into the call of God. That speaks of our thought life. The thumb speaks of our work of our hands, our work life. The foot and the feet represent our walk life. Blood-anointed thought life, blood-anointed work life. What is our work? What we do, our talents, our abilities, the work that we do. You are business people, many of you. Your work is your ministry to God. And the walk had to be right. A blood-anointed walk. A blood-anointed walk life. A blood-anointed work life. A blood-anointed thought life. And here's the point.
Before we get to his point, let me get to the actual biblical point. The text, Leviticus 8:22, it's about the consecration of Aaron and his sons for the Aaronic priesthood. Please note, for the Aaronic priesthood, not the American presidency. So let's start there. This is a one-time consecration for Aaron and his sons. Second, there are so many details in this consecration service, like blood was sprinkled around the altar. Moses, he took the fat of the tail and the fat of all the entrails, and the unleavened bread, along with oil, one wafer, and placed them in Aaron's hands and waved them as a wave offering. Verse 28, Moses then burned that stuff on the altar. In other words, if you're going to say that Leviticus 8 is about the presidential election in America of 2024, then all of those details must be present. With that as the backdrop, get ready for the worst exegesis. I don't even know what this is hermeneutically. This is perhaps the worst biblical interpretation ever.
When the president turned his head and the bullet that was supposed to kill him, it caused blood to flow from his right ear. And he reached up with his right hand and he's got blood on his thumb. And I thought, well, if there's anything to this, what about his big toe? And then I thought, oh my goodness, the thing that Trump said when they picked him up and were trying to get him out. Where are my shoes? Something took my shoes off. I'm not trying to be mystical or strange or weird. But you know, when God showed up, God told Moses, take your shoes off. Joshua, take your shoes. You know what that really means? God saying, I'm about to step into your shoes, Moses. You thought you could lead the people. You tried on your timing and failed. But I'm going to step into your shoes. I'm going to get in your walk. I'm going to get in the work of your hands, and with my help and only by my Spirit, you're going to rebuild this nation.
That is eye-crossing. Apparently, Donald Trump is being anointed for the Aaronic priesthood when he was almost assassinated. There are 5 glaring reasons this is utter nonsense. One, as mentioned, the fat and the entrails and the unleavened bread, the oil, the wafer, the burning, they're all missing. Therefore, this can't be that. Number 2, Moses put blood on Aaron's ear. Blood didn't flow from Aaron's ear. Number 3, we don't know if blood. I'm going to have to go home and explain to my wife what we talked about today. We don't know if blood made its way to Donald Trump's big toe on his right foot. Number 4, this is not how you interpret Scripture. I guess you could call it allegorical, prophetical, but it's ripping an obscure Old Testament text out of context as if to say what Moses did was actually pointing to the day when a president in 2024 would be shot. Number 5, if we're going to play this ridiculous hermeneutical game, well, let's play it then, shall we? Revelation 13:3 comes to mind regarding the near assassination attempt. I saw one of the heads as if it had been fatally wounded, and his fatal wound was healed. And the whole earth was amazed and followed after the beast. That's it. Donald Trump is the beast because his head was almost fatally wounded, but he healed. You say, I don't think that's what the verse is trying to teach us. Exactly. And that is why this application of Scripture from a prosperity preacher is utter nonsense. And we thought Andy Stanley was bad. Disgust.
Houston, I think we have a few problems here.
Go ahead, Wretched One.
Besides the fact I'm wearing a cardboard helmet, Houston, you have got one of the biggest false teachers in the universe.
How rich is he, Wretched One?
I can see his house from here.